Hello again. I promise I'm not going to hog up too much more stage time. Okay, part of my job, but I don't love doing this all the time. But Deeksha, Amit, thank you for being here. We are discussing sustainability. It's become another active area, if I can call it that. Some years ago, we used to, keep talking. We've always seen a lot of buzzwords, but we used to speak about sustainability, but it never happened. But we are seeing it here in action. And, today we've got actually two practitioners sitting with us who are going to discuss it. I understand, Deeksha, you're under time pressure, plus we are running a little late. So we will try and keep it as short as possible. I've cut down some of the questions. And I'll get started. May I start with the lady? I think we have to. So Deeksha, sustainability is no longer a buzzword. We know that, they've been saying it. You are the Group Chief Sustainability Officer at Aditya Birla Group. So how long have you all been practicing sustainability? What exactly are you all doing? How is it kind of helping? Were there headwinds? Could you?
Thank you for having me here. And it's quite pleasant to see so many people in the room and so many people wanting to kind of hear about sustainability. So Hoshie, to answer your question, at Aditya Birla Group, how, maybe I'll start with how we are defining sustainability, and therefore that in some ways would answer what we've been doing about it and for how long. So how we are defining sustainability is, it's our ability to sustain in times to come. That, will you be around with the kind of, for example, the previous speaker spoke about changes in economy. We've heard about AI, we've heard about, the way technology is evolving. So there are so many, or about inflation that, to not be able to, get a flight on a Sunday morning, a flight on Sunday morning being so expensive. So all of these are reflective of the kind of trends that are playing out, some of them short term, some of them long term, and will be around. And corporates work in the face of so many of these trends, and also expectations from stakeholders in face of those trends. So if I was to just build on two examples from what has been spoken earlier today, first being technology has been changing very fast, and second being inequality because of K-shaped recovery and because of the different economic headwinds which are at both macro-micro level, and because of the way geopolitics is at this point in time. It's not going to, may or may not change very soon. So how do you define what all you need to look at in terms of, both external factors and externalities, that what is coming at us, and due to what we are doing, what we are contributing to what is happening around. And that's how we've been looking at sustainability, and therefore this is something which is being looked at always. As Birla's, the group has been there for almost 150 years. So we, in some sense, understand what it takes to see what trends are, and therefore how do you respond to them? What are the kind of, how do you understand the expectations of the key stakeholders, whether it's the investors, the employees, the suppliers, the customers, what regulations could come your way. So that's how we look at it, and then how we make sense of it is also from what we are calling a four-dimensional approach, 4 dimensions to always be cognizant of. First one being, what are the sectors in which we are operating? So therefore, what matters? What are the geographies that we are operating in? As a group, in the year gone by, we had, while we are Mumbai headquartered Indian business group, but 43% of our revenue came from outside of India. So therefore, we are in 36 geographies now. So which geographies we are operating in the business and geographies we are in, the third dimension is where are we in the value chain. So, you know, if you are a B2C company, a B2B or a B2B2C, that would define what are the areas that we need to be focusing on, or what are the material sustainability areas for us. And last, D, the fourth dimension is time. Time in terms of how much has elapsed, so therefore how mature are you as an organization, and how much ahead are you looking, so how much of a visionary are you. So if we apply all of these, and this also therefore keeps the assessment or understanding of materiality and responses very dynamic. And in 2021, we published, and you know, the current terminology of ESG, the environment, social and governance, allowed us to present it in those terms, saying that we will focus on 16 areas as a group. While that, given the 4D approach, what would apply to our cement business will not apply to a financial services business, but we would look at in which there are 5 areas in environment, about 7 in social, and then 4 in governance. So that's how we're looking at it. Yeah.
Thank you. You know, there are barely a couple of hundred chief sustainability officers in the country. Okay, you have an extremely large group. How large would your team be? Trying to understand, you know, are you doing this with a limited team, a large team? Obviously, you need the cooperation of, you know, several thousand employees, but your own sustainability team, I'm trying to understand, Deeksha. I think this audience will want to know what exactly it takes to build the sustainability practices across.
Sure. So, you know, I would answer that in 2 ways. First, a little more philosophical. A sustainability officer will not make a company sustainable.
Absolutely.
You know, it is the people who are, so, you know, sustainability officers will bring things together, come and tell stories like this. They would work with the chief information or the chief digital officer to say, how do we manage the sustainability data? How do we analyze it? How do we understand the trends? And therefore take it back to the procurement team to say, this is what we saw from the data on supplier sustainability. Take it back to the manufacturing team to say, this is what we need to do in the processes, etc., etc. So therefore, sustainability has to be built into, you know, it has to be a way of being. You know, one of the things that I keep using at times, I like to equate sustainability to meditation. That do you do meditation? Are you in meditation? So do you do sustainability, or are you sustainable? So therefore, if you say that your aim is that you would be sustainable, then it's everybody's job. You know, you don't have a separate supplier sustainability strategy. You say, is sustainability incorporated in your procurement strategy? So I think it's that. Having said that, depending on the maturity of the organization, you need to get started. So in addition to the erstwhile traditional EHS people, we now have people who have understanding of different frameworks, of different stakeholder expectations. For example, there's been now a plethora of ESG rating agencies, so what they expect. So it's about traditional EHS, and then in sustainability about communication, learning and development, because ultimately it's, if I'm saying that everybody in the organization, whether it's the head of marketing or head of you know, digital, head of information technology, etc., everybody needs to incorporate that, then how are we giving them that knowledge and those tools? So that kind of work. So it is, that's how we're looking at that. In addition to the people who were looking at environment, health, safety, we need people who look at learning and development, who look at reporting, who look at stakeholder engagement, and who look at how do you build a system, to have, for example, we have an Aditya Birla Group Sustainable Business Framework where we've defined for those areas that I spoke about, the 16 ESG areas, what are the policies that we have in place, or what are the standards? How do you implement those standards, and then how do you check the effectiveness of the implementation of the standards? So once you reach a certain level, you reach that level of maturity. For example, Novelis, which is our downstream aluminium company, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Hindalco, sustainability works in two ways. The sustainability part is our chief strategy officer is also the chief sustainability officer. So his designation is chief strategy and sustainability officer. So that bit, but the EHS bit, because there is also manufacturing, works with the head of manufacturing. So, depending on the geography and the maturity, this can keep changing.
Thank you. Yeah? Thank you. We are talking of sustainability around businesses. I think, all of us are here, or we go to organizations because there are revenue objectives, there are business objectives, there are ecosystem objectives. So, Amit, I want to kind of come to you, and, at the end of the day, when you look at ecosystem sustainability, I don't see, honest to God, buy electric, but is there an ecosystem more than that? Is there an ROI that comes on, your sustainability efforts? Have you seen any business benefits coming out of your sustainability initiatives? And can you share an example or?
Thanks, Hoshie, for this interesting question. In fact, when we started our sustainability journey almost 1 year back, it started with BRSR reporting. So now that SEBI has made it mandatory, and that's where last year it was optional, and we thought, okay, we have to file. And when we started filing, we realized that, okay, there are 138 parameters on the basis of which you can actually work on ESG. And therefore, environment, social governance, almost like 40, 50 questions on each of these fronts. So we saw that on the governance side, more or less, we are covered. The kind of compliances, being a listed company, what we are doing is quite good. On the social side, again, a lot that we do for the society as far as the Thomas Cook Foundation is concerned, the Fairfax Foundation, which we manage for the dialysis machine. More than 1,000 dialysis machines are running almost every day, and that is entirely managed by Thomas Cook team. So, but on the environment side, we were struggling that how can we contribute to the society as far as environment is concerned. And when we looked at the environment side and how the BRSR reporting is, like scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, we saw that on the scope 1 part, not much is there in the service sector. For like cement company and all, there are captive power stations. So there is a lot that you can do on the scope 1 side, as if you are a manufacturing. On the scope 2, again, you are taking electricity from the grid, and largely you can save on electricity. Either you can optimize or you can go to more towards renewable energy. So that is scope 2. But scope 3 we actually found an opportunity. It is not just for the compliance, but for most of the service sector, the biggest carbon emission is because of business travel. So, and we are the provider of business travel for most of the top companies. So how can we help the companies to achieve their goals? And that's where this opportunity came in, and we started a new project last year on the green carpet. So first we tried to do everything ourselves, to come out with the reporting, analytics, so that we can help the corporates to do their BRSR filing as far as the scope 3 emission is concerned. We thought that no, it's not so easy. It is not just a simple report. There is a lot of tech development, and there is a lot of integrations required. And then we partnered with LTI Mindtree for that. So, and then both these, the domain expertise and the technology expertise came together, and we launched the new platform, Green Carpet, which actually takes the entire travel data feed from whichever system you are doing business travel from, whether it is us, any of the tools that you deploy. How can that get pushed into the Green Carpet platform, and you get a report and analytics, not only to report, but actually to optimize the travel and go more towards sustainable, and you can earn green points. So we are trying to gamify. It's just the start, but I can see a huge opportunity in the gamification of this entire thing, where you can actually engage with the employees, and they also feel nice. Yeah, I am also contributing a bit on the environment side. So I would say green carpet is a big opportunity. If you are asking, one is the ecosystem, but how can make that threat as an opportunity? Green carpet is a perfect example.
So we've got your video. We'll play it during the lunchtime on green carpet.
No, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Tell us going forward, let's stay with you, Amit. Going forward, what are the other sustainability efforts that you all are looking at?
So this was more about the business travel, and then we thought, okay, there is the leisure travel, there is MICE incentive conferences that we do, and how can the sustainable tourism can be a part of the entire ecosystem? And that's where we started talking to the tourism boards, the hotels, the airlines who are part of the entire ecosystem, and how can we give the corporates and sustainable travel alternative. So right now, as of, I would say, as of before ESG and all, people never used to think ESG as a parameter or sustainability as a parameter when they are deciding on the travel or conferences. It's just the finance and the experience. But now we are pushing sustainability as one of the parameters to decide where you want to go and how you want to go. There are some things that you can do in Europe, maybe just a train travel will help you to reach there, and rather than taking a flight. There are so many changes which are happening after the Paris Climate Agreement in the European countries. If you are like 3-4 hours from the destination, rather than taking a flight, you take a train. And I think those are the nudges that we are also offering to the corporates to show the sustainable travel way. So I think there is a lot of opportunity on the leisure travel, and then comes the personal. So more and more you get adapted to that. Personally also, I think it's more about the mindset. Once you get into that, I use a lot of public transport, and mainly because it's not that I'm just heading ESG, it becomes personal. And when I see my kids and especially the millennials, they are very much bothered about the climate, and there is a lot to learn from them. So that's where it is.
Yeah, so sustainability suddenly seems new to us when you spoke about generations, the newer generation. Though we've known about it, we've not done anything. I think the kick I got on sustainability was from my kids. When they were, one is practicing right now, the other one's doing her college. But when they were in a school that had some subjects, so they would say you cannot drive above a certain speed. So for them, it's coming naturally. We are adapting to it. Deeksha, you all have been doing a lot of stuff around, you said different things for different parts of the industry. Going forward, what is going to be your primary, what are the new things that you're going to work on to across the group? Is there some focus area?
So I can talk about two things. One is, as we, as we are at that stage where, whether it's in terms of reaching the Earth Overshoot Day comes now in July. So, we are, the natural resources are quite constrained. And also the ability of, we've been, while a lot of conversations happen around climate change, but the biodiversity loss has also been at all-time high. And last year in December, both the COP27 of UNFCCC on climate change and COP15 of Convention of Biodiversity happened in the same month. We've started to, and then we started to think ourselves, what is it that matters to us, or what differentiates us, or what drives us when we talk about sustainability, and which allows to bring multiple things together and would excite, somebody I think you said that CEO is what engine and CFO is the brake. So how do you get the car going in the right, this thing, we thought circularity was one such thing, which would please the CEO and CFO both, because it addresses the risks and the opportunities. So therefore, that's one area that we are focusing a lot more, whether it's to, we've been doing a lot of stuff, but we said, how can we do it in a structured way? How can we be cognizant of the business opportunity that it offers us, and how can it also work as a lever for us to decarbonize? So therefore, very structured efforts around, we have in many of our businesses brands that are circular. For example, we have a fiber brand called Liva Reviva, which is part virgin fiber and part fiber made from recycled garments. We have recyclamine, which is epoxy made from, so it allows to make a wind blade from a wind blade. So, you know, that's in our chemicals business. We have a brand called Continua, where we are making carbon black from old tires. So, you know, and then of course our Novelis, which is our downstream aluminium company, which I referred to earlier as well. 62% of the aluminium that Novelis uses is recycled aluminium. So therefore, circularity is one area that I would talk about. And second area, I mean, which I think I should talk about, given that this is SAP's event and there would be many people here who work in the area of IT and digital, is this whole, you know, because there are so many, you know, he spoke about BRSR, and then as the large listed companies have a lot of, you know, whether it's MSCI, it's Sustain Analytics, ISS, S&P Global. So there are all kinds of agencies looking for data from large corporates. We said, how do we bring it all together, which would allow us to report in a consistent manner, allow us to analyze it, and then use those analytics to feed back into performance. So we are working on a project where we are bringing all the data together from whichever platform that they are on into a group level data lake, and then use that to kind of, you know, use that for reporting as well as for analyzing. So I thought these are two things which would then even make don't need too many people to work on sustainability. So, you know, you just automate the systems and make it more intelligent and more accessible. So I thought these are two things that I can mention.
Thank you. Deeksha and Amit, since we don't have questions, let me ask you both the last question. Twitter format, if you can respond, that would be lovely. That's now, I think, 240 or 280 characters allowed. Deeksha, actually, we'll start with you, so the lady can have the first word and the last word. What's your advice, now having been into ESG, to this audience on adopting ESG, and, you know, how should they go about it quickly?
So my advice would be try to change the mindset of the employees and engage with them. Unless and until there is no sustainability department, there is no ESG department. I think the entire enterprise has to move, then only this can be a successful in the organization. Otherwise, it will be just remain on paper. So try to change and work on the mindset and conditioning with small things like plastic bottles getting replaced by glass bottles. These are very small, visible changes, but it is very important. Don't underestimate it.
We haven't done this because of the sustainability panel. We've started doing it wherever we can to avoid the usage of plastic. At home also now, I think we've gone back to glass bottles. Deeksha.
So I would say, building on what he just said, and that becomes easier when you're able to tell people what is in it for them. Because to change mindset, people have to know, mujhe kyun karna hai? You know, what is in it for me? What is in it for me as a professional? What is in it for me as a person? And therefore, at work, if it can be aligned to what they're supposed to deliver. So how would it make the CFO a more successful finance person? How would it make the procurement head a more effective and resilient supply chain person? How would it bring down the cost and increase reliability for the logistics team? How would it make it cheaper for the chief manufacturing officer to make what he's making. So, if to work with the manufacturing and CFO on the bottom line, to work with the marketing team and the manufacturing team on top lines, so newer products. So therefore, to find the hooks in terms of how would this make them more successful by either bringing down the risk and also parallelly identifying new opportunities. That's
So the way I see prime part of the role for both of you on sustainability is educating and influencing. So it's like working with children, right? So thank you very much, Deeksha. Thank you, Amit. I think I've set a record first time doing a panel. We've still got 4 minutes to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.